Still not really on camera that well.
I think we're all fine. I think everyone can see us. But you got to remember the main camera's back here behind you. We all look great.
Picking them up.
I sure am.
You good? All right.
Yeah, we're live.
All right.
You want to intro us?
I don't see it coming here. Hey guys, welcome to Splitting Hairs Podcast. I'm Ray.
I'm Dirk.
And today we are joined with PeeDee. Help me say it. PeeDee Region Paranormal. I always want to say regional, so it's PeeDee Region Paranormal. So, and where we're at Sean's house here. This is Sean. Sean's been on the podcast before, Mr. Sean Smith.
Howdy.
He's an author. He's an actor. He's got quite a few hats that he wears. But he recently purchased a very old house in Hamlet.
Wait, we got to do it right. That's Sean, author of 3 Miles of Eden, available right now on Amazon.
Yep.
It's been available on Amazon for the last 5 years.
Hey, but there's still people out there to buy.
It is a bestseller, right? It was on the bestseller list.
It was on a few bestseller lists in North Carolina and the Southeast and that sort of thing. But for a self-published novel, that doesn't really happen. You know, there's no marketing team. It's me.
That speaks volumes about the story that you wrote.
I am lucky enough that enough people dug it that I made my money back because it's not cheap to publish them. You know, if you do it right. I mean, I hired a professional editor. Even though I am an editor, you can't edit yourself, a cover designer, all those things, they all cost money. Mm-hmm. And we had our money back in 2 months.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Very good. That's very good. So now we're here at your house, and this house is 108 years old?
That's correct.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you've had you've had some unexplainable phenomena that's happened here, right?
We've had issues and complications. Some of those you can ascribe to my electrical box looks straight out of A Christmas Story. There's old screw-in fuses. The wiring is probably pretty old, but the last owners of this took very good care of it. They made improvements. You see the size of my kitchen and whatnot. This is not a wreck of a ancient house here in Hamlet. This is one of the good ones.
Yeah,
it really is. But that being said, when you have electrical that old, things aren't grounded, you know, in a modern fashion. There's quirks. There is. But there's been some quirks that, my brother-in-law's an electrical engineer, and he couldn't explain his way out of this thing, which freaked us all out.
No, wait. By this thing, you're referring to this lantern we've got sitting here.
Yes,
right?
that thing. All right. It's a thing now because it's
you sent me the video.
Yeah.
And it had a very dim light coming off of it. It was flickering. It wasn't a consistent light. Mm-hmm. But there's no batteries in it, and you haven't had a battery in it in years.
Yeah, I didn't think it still worked at all.
And it just came on by itself sitting out front.
I walked out to see if my little landscape torches still work because they're solar and they got a little age on them. So I went out, they worked. I turned around, walked in, I noticed that was glowing for the first time in years. And I said, let me get my phone. Because I was just going to make a video for my daughter. That was it. And I came out and I said, Riley, dig this. And I filmed it glowing. And then I had someone shut the lights on so you could see me pick it up, turn it over. Battery backing is gone. There's no batteries in there. It takes 3C batteries. It's switched off, turned it back over, still glowing.
Let's see if we can show that.
Mm-hmm. It's exactly how it looked.
You're not going to be able to see on there, but there's definitely a little bit of corrosion and such here.
Mm-hmm.
It says it's been open for a little while for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. Now, listen, I'm going to be honest. I'm a skeptic, and I am always going to be looking for a more rational explanation to things. But I'm not a disbeliever. There's anything in this that you can imagine is possible? Given
No.
enough time, everything happens.
I asked 3 electrical engineers. Like I said, one of them, my brother-in-law. I said, okay, I showed him the video. I go, it's sitting on stucco covered stone. Last I knew, stone couldn't conduct electricity, no matter how haywire my wiring may be or how antiquated it may be. And he was like, I got nothing. And he's tired to rewire entire corporation because I couldn't tell you why that happened. And if I didn't have a video, I'd feel like an idiot. But you've all seen the video and it's there, and I shut the lights on and I turn the thing over and there's no batteries in it and whatnot. And then you think about, all right, this house, Hamlet, was only, a few decades old when it was built. It's one of the originals. You've seen my creepy Silence of the Lambs basement. And you start thinking about all those things and you're like, I wonder what that was. I hope it's not malevolent.
Seems to like the light. I wouldn't worry too much about that.
Yeah.
So what do you guys, in your experience, what do y'all take from the story of this lantern?
So you're looking at two that believe. Like,
Yeah.
we believe. That's what we do this. But when it comes to homeowners, we go in and try to do all the debunking that we can. Because the purpose of going into someone's home is for them to feel a little safer. Because they're scared when they call us, or they're worried, they're concerned, or some are just like, oh, I got a ghost, and they're excited. But for the most part, you make sure that it's kind of like stuff you see on TV. You make sure it's not the pipes or the plumbing or the electricity. Just like he's doing everything that he could do to try to debunk it himself.
He called somebody.
Animals, absolutely. So that's what we do when we go into people's homes, is to try to ease their mind and say, no, this is what you're doing. Like, this is what's happening here. So when
do you more often than not actually debunk what's happening on, or do you actually confirm it more often? Like
a lot of debunking stuff, but it's something you're like, what the hell was that? There's no explanation for it.
Yeah. And sometimes you come out of stuff where it's not debunked, but it's not proven otherwise. So you really do come out saying, I can't tell you either way what this is.
So then the homeowner's just more scared.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Did you ever get actual definitive, like, oh yeah, this has definitely got to be a paranormal experience? Do you ever get, is that
I think the last
happen often?
house that we did was
Not Trebet, but the actual home.
the actual home that we went to. We caught one thing in the girls' bedroom.
That was it.
And that was it. And it was basically one of our little balls there. These are basically little cat balls. If we throw it on the ground, your little cat might like it.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
So they go off by movement.
Yeah.
So you turn them on. They do their little thing. They sit still. We placed it on this girl's bed. The girl had passed away. And we just leave it there. And so Brian and I were in that room, and we were just kind of walking around, just asking questions. We had a little recorder going. Turn around, cat balls going off.
Okay.
We're the only ones in the room. It's on a bed. Nobody's sitting on the bed. Nobody's touching the bed. How does the cat ball go off?
I'm out.
So stuff like that. That was a one-time thing. The homeowner was like, I always feel I'll come in here to talk to my daughter. Things that we would do if we had lost someone.
Yeah.
So basically that. So in that case, that made the homeowner feel, okay, my daughter's here and I'm not going in here in vain. I'm really talking to her when she's in there. And it kind of gave her a little bit of comfort.
Did she die in that room?
No, that I don't remember.
I don't think so.
I don't remember.
Mm-hmm. So
I think her son and daughter had died.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah. So she had missing some kids, and that's just where she went to feel closer to her daughter. And then, we tell her that, and she's like, I feel her there all the time. It just kind of gives her a little comfort that she's doing what she feels is right to be able to, reach her daughter. So, and it's part of the grieving process to still be able to talk to your loved ones. That's why we go to cemeteries, is, lay flowers on our family's graves, or to say, hey, mom, I'm doing good. It is still part of the grieving process. And so she was still grieving, and that just kind of, pushed her on a little bit forward. So, that's one good thing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it really is.
I just got here And I'm looking for a solid debunk. That's
When she put that up there, or I'm sorry, when you put that up there, the first thing I thought in my mind's that the bed moved a little bit to kind of make it go off. It you were just sitting here
Yeah.
tapping the table, and it's not. Yeah,
You have
it's
got
not
to
actually
move
going
that.
off, and it might not pick up on camera, but the table was wobbling a little bit.
I want a couple for my office.
Mhm.
So I got an EMF detector sitting on my desk
Mhm.
that I run the Hampton Inn in Orangeburg. I have housekeepers all the time that tell me the hotel's haunted.
Mhm.
It's a hotel. You hear things. I just mess with them.
How old is that hotel?
35 years. It's not that old. 35. The Scotland Inn was a lot older.
Oh yeah.
The Scotland Inn was scary. I got to have experiences at the Scotland Inn, but one of the girls bought an EMF detector and she left it, and it's been sitting on my desk. And sometimes it's not on. It'll just start lighting up. I'm never there when it happens, but everyone else tells me about it.
Okay, but still, it's only hearsay.
You
You
set
have-
you
yeah.
a camera. Set you a camera to run.
Yeah.
But it's no, so I got cameras that go off of movement,
Mhm.
and all the time I've got a couple cameras. You'll see the little thing flicker up saying there's movement. There's no movement.
Yeah.
I see that all the
He's
time.
just looking for an excuse to put his Ghostbuster cosplay on and storm.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah, two. That was the best I ever saw in theaters.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Better explanation.
Well, I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
So with your light here,
Mm-hmm.
is there no solar panel anywhere on it?
It's not solar. It's ancient. It's
I tried to see if there was.
well, you said it's C battery.
And see,
Where's the light? It's C battery.
Is there anything at the top?
it's empty up top. I looked inside of the candle here as best I can through the cracks, looking for maybe a capacitor or something that could hold a charge.
And when you saw it, there was no bottom.
nothing. It's on the video.
Yeah.
Well, he said that it has not had batteries in it for like 2 years.
Probably
That's
longer
right.
than that.
And it has been happening since.
I know.
Now,
Well, don't throw it away, okay?
I'll leave
You
it
might
out.
get rid of it, fellas, but don't throw it away. That could be part of the investigation.
So,
Honestly,
are you saying that like this particular item could be I don't know what is infested?
like a haunted object.
That's
Yeah,
It would be.
So
I drive that with me to like 4 or 5 different properties. It is never done that.
that is actually
Oh, so that means it's probably not the object and more the location.
it could be that something likes it.
Or could it be that this just happens to be sensitive enough, such as your other things, to pick up on other things? I know that.
Not a
It's not as advanced as some of the other stuff, so I would be inclined to say something might have liked it.
So, well, I will say that I believe the last gentleman that lived in this house, he worked for the railroad.
Yep.
And I mean, a lantern is definitely a
There you go.
railroad.
Yeah.
And so before we do houses, we actually go into a lot of research about the house, the location, the people that were here, what the land was before, how many people owned it before. And that would have been something that would have come up in the history where we said, you know what, dude might have had a lot of work with lanterns here, so he might have liked this lantern. So that the history plays a lot into what you might see happening.
I'm fascinated with the paranormal and cryptozoology. All of
I
it.
love cryptids.
And sometimes, right, it's just kind of like an impression, right?
Mhm.
Like, and just the energy. I don't necessarily believe you have to die somewhere to, we all leave our energy everywhere,
Yep.
right? Like, especially if it's a lot of energy at one time.
So, are you saying that like Sean could be alive and yet still haunting a house somewhere? Like he left his energy in the last house he stayed in? Is that what you're getting at?
Kind of, yeah.
I've left a lot of energy everywhere.
I don't talk about it. People think I'm crazy, but I'm an empath. Like I'm a crazy empath. I can feel a person from 3 miles away. If I've had interactions with you, I can feel you coming. Hell, I had a dream the night before that I'm going to see you the next day. I haven't seen you in years, and I'm going to run into you. Like it will strike me. I'll be in Walmart and I can feel this person. 5 minutes later, Yeah. So I totally believe you can. That happens your energy.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are people that are able to like pick up something that belongs to you and know that you were there an hour ago, or see things that you might have done that day, or Ray was wearing a white shirt when he came in earlier. It's because you have left a piece of you on something that you've touched.
Right.
Yeah. So I can see. Yeah, your opinion with that. Absolutely.
It being a lantern, it's.
Well, one of the things I know, because I did my research, they tried to sell this house. The sale fell through, and then there was no other takers. And it's just not everybody wants a house that's 108 years old. Usually the first thing they think is, wow, there's a money pit,
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I did, of course, we had a full inspection, but the only things that we found were it's a 100-year-old house.
Yeah.
That's it. There's a little bit of this. There's an old crack. Nothing spectacular. And I know that the Johnsons love this house. They had 3 siblings on the concrete. You can see their names still. Now, they bought this house in the early 90s and spent the rest of their lives here. So it wasn't like they lived their whole existence. So the kids were like in high school transitioning out into the world, and they're all still relatively local. 2 of them are absolutely local. One of them is right here on the street. And so I talked to them a little bit about it. And obviously, like me, I'm 53 years old. This is the last home I'm going to buy. And that was what it was for them as well. This is that they only went from Pinecroft to here. And I went from Pinecroft to here. Okay. And it's my last house. And I think what they were worried about, meaning the siblings or at least the executor, was, it's going to get bought by a developer and they're going to totally reface it and whatever. I said, no. I'm not changing. I will paint it. I will refinish the floors. I will do that. And the other thing I did was, you could tell they were very into gardening. My whole backyard is the old man that lived here. The whole tin roof, all that stuff. I kind of saw what they were trying to do in the garden, and I resurrected it. I didn't bulldoze anything. I didn't, I was the exact right person to buy this house.
That's awesome.
So if anything is showing up, I think it's just like a wink and a nod, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I was about to say, you come in and you do the right things. A lot of times in locations when people start to do renovations, then you stir up stuff, so to say. Energy just kind of gets moved around and you start having more happenings. But in a sense, this could be him saying, hey, I like what you're doing here.
Good job.
So you can just think about stuff like that.
And he said that he had there's a light in your closet in your bedroom.
Or it comes on when it feels like it. Yeah.
I mean, does it work normally? You can go in and flip the switch on, it comes on.
Sometimes
it
it comes on, and he got creative. Look at some of this stuff. We got drop cords from the ceiling fan.
Yeah.
All right. He was a sharp guy that a do-it-yourselfer, and maybe it wasn't entirely professional or to code, but I don't think it's dangerous or faulty or anything like that. And or his siblings could see this and go, no, dude, you better get somebody in there. But yes, there are 3 LED or some kind of bulb lights up there in the closet and tied to a switch, and sometimes when you turn it comes on.
What were you going to do though? Tear the ceiling open because it predates electricity,
right? Well,
there's a good chance that the ceiling's plastered.
Well, there's a good chance that they didn't want to mess with it either.
Yeah,
and which is why you're seeing these drop cord things. But
By the way, we had, when I was a kid, the house we grew up in, we had that. Exact same
You
thing.
have the groovy chain. We had the groovy chain.
The chain made it look fancy.
Right. Yeah.
That's what it was for.
Pinkies out, people. Pinkies out. But when the light comes on at 10, 11 o'clock at night, like I wake up and the light's on. I'm like, oh, is that faulty electricity or is that, what is that? You know, I don't know. But it's not like, Riley, do we hear noises?
One time I heard like a man talking. I swear, like in the middle of the night, it freaked me out. I didn't go to bed till like 12 o'clock.
You have a giant cardboard cutout of Obi-Wan Kenobi staring over you.
That would scare me.
Right.
I don't know, what if something possessed them? In the middle of the night, it just moved in front of my bed and said, hello there.
Or you whip out your Jedi.
Grab the saber, baby. Grab the saber.
That's funny.
So you guys got a lot of gear up here.
Mhm.
Can you tell us kind of a little bit about it?
This is just a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah.
A little bit. We
Okay.
actually downsized to this. There was more, right?
Yeah, we got more cameras, but so I hassle to set up all that crap. So
Yeah.
I started carrying these little small cameras.
I get it.
It's good, same voice quality, everything.
Yeah.
And actually, they started picking up a lot more than what we had
Expected,
were catching on our stationary cameras. So, and it takes time when you get in there to run the wires and to
Mhm.
find the
Mhm.
right angle. And who's to say that's going to be the right angle for what you're looking for?
And the
And
camera to the left.
right,
Yeah.
it takes a long time. And you guys know, y'all have to set this up every week. So it takes a lot. And when you're in a location that is so huge that it can take an hour to do that sometimes.
Mm.
And so we've just kind of been testing some new stuff out, and we've come to these little Phasma cams here that have been our little lifesavers. You can take them off. He's got a handheld one that he carries here, and then these we can just sit up wherever we go, change out the batteries, and keep on rolling. We can pick it up and move it wherever we want to, and not have to worry about
So-
wires.
Laser grid.
Yeah.
The laser.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's
What-
do-
What does that do?
so this we'll go backwards.
Don't be finding anything right.
Yeah.
Alright, so this we would sorry, right? She blinded. So this one
Okay.
will cover it up. So you want to explain now?
Basically, it's used like a long hallway where they say claim this the shadow movement. We'll sit it in the hallway and sit and watch, see if we see any of the lines or break like something stepping in front of it.
So if you were to
Okay.
like move your hand in
Oh,
front of it,
Yeah.
you see like a disconnect in the lights there. So because if a shadow walks across, then you see a break in the light.
So you've never seen Zach Bagans use this thing.
So we use this just in certain areas where people, say we don't use those all the time. We just, if there's one, there's always the shadow here, or there's a shadow hall or something like that. We're like, okay, we're going to see. We'll set them up all night, set a camera on it. And we're like, yeah, we get it. So
Oh my God, reviewing that must be horrible.
it is.
Oh.
It's hard when it's just regular video, but
Yeah.
when it's video where we're walking around, or if we're in the room, or if it's video and we're looking at sound, it's not as bad. But when you have
Good audio.
recorders and all you do is listen,
Yeah.
that is like the death of you. It's terrible. So really, we've used a lot of our audio that we do
Yeah.
with our cameras because we have the video that we can look at too, and it just kind of
Because
You kind of
with
zone
that,
out and
With
you
the
catch
recorders, you can't tell if somebody's on saying something. Was that you? Was that me? I don't. You can't really distinct. But when you got on the camera, say, okay, that was us.
So,
Yeah.
for instance, some of our stuff that we sent you, we were able to decipher that was none of our voices because it actually came from behind the camera. And only thing behind the camera was a chair. And so that helps us a lot. And so we kind of steered away from just audio. We still put them out every once in a while if we want to catch a clear, hope to catch clearer EVPs. But these have been doing so well. We really, I don't know last time I've used my recorder.
We use it for like burst session or something. We got people going with us want to hear something. We'll run it, but most of the time,
Yeah.
we don't pick anything
A
up.
lot of times we will record what we're doing with this. And then that way, if we want to review back right quick
Mhm.
and not have to go back on our video, then we'll just record back.
Do you ever like enhance the audio and bring it up?
Yeah, so clear out the back. Like you've got more.
Like all the ones that I've sent you, I went through and trim them up, put them where I want to stop in, and go in and take out the background noise and
Mhm.
amp it up as loud as I can get it.
Now, for the layman, what's an EVP?
Electro voice phenomenon.
Okay. And you have a device that kind of picks up these faint.
A lot of things will. So like these will.
Yeah.
And just a regular recorder, you can get for $30. I'm like, you're basically recording, and you could hear all of us talking,
Mhm.
but then all of a sudden you hear a voice that's not none of us.
Okay.
And yeah, I think we seen also
How do you
earlier.
hear about you? You can go online, TikTok, YouTube, whatnot. And people go visit Gettysburg and whatever, and then there's full apparitions crossing
Oh, yeah.
the road in the field. How do you feel about that video? You know.
You might have, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have an opinion.
That'd be kind of. I think it could be real. But then again, depending on where you got to look at, see if they went through edited or did anything AI into it or anything like that. So it's kind of hard. Kind of hard for me to say if I didn't there and film it myself. So
How often are there full apparitions?
not a lot.
Mhm.
Not a lot.
You get them, but
Get 'em.
it's not often.
When's the last time you?
But a place like that
Yeah.
would be a place that I would
Yeah.
think you'd see it.
Yeah.
The more that energy,
Mhm.
spirit energy there is, the more likely you are to see it. And a lot of those are residual.
Uh-huh.
So it's basically just this person replaying the same
Right.
thing over and over and over and
Mhm.
over.
So is he lost, or is that a magnetic imprint?
It could have just been him walking to his truths.
Mhm.
It's hard to say.
I've got a theory. I'm very big into the multiverse, right? Right? So everything that could happen has happened, and we're just kind of in lines, right? And sometimes you just kind of blend into this one, and you're just kind of seeing a recording because everything's just kind of going in a circle.
Yeah.
And
It's a glitch in the matrix.
right,
I was gonna say, I mean, would it be a strong possibility that what we're seeing is just into another dimension, right? Because there's a multi-level.
Yeah.
We talk about that a lot. We really do.
Science is there's 50-50 on there being multiple universes,
Yep.
and they're 50-50 on excuse me, they're 50-50 on if we're in a simulation or not.
Mhm. Yeah.
So these are things that like legitimate scientists are like,
Right.
hey, we can't prove that we're not. So there we have to give it a
Absolutely.
high
If you,
percentage.
if you can't disprove,
Right.
then you still
Mhm.
got a whole. I mean, you still may have a whole lot of work to prove it, but you can't definitively say no, that's inaccurate. You
So
know?
there's another Ray running around somewhere.
Scary.
So scary.
But that one's a dick.
Those life decisions.
Yeah.
So you got more gear up here.
Yeah, come over through it.
This is basically the K2, kind of like the EMF detector.
So like the EMF, like you have on your desk, it's just a different version. No, like
Again, if that lights up, I'm
So
out.
what is it? Like, if you brought it near the microphone, will that cause it to light?
Have
No.
enough energy coming off of it.
Okay.
Sometimes phones do.
So you just have to have a really strong. It just lit
Oh
up.
yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You show the camera.
Yeah. So it should.
So.
Yep.
And that just picks up electromagnetic fields.
And you'll see a lot. Do you want to explain your walking around versus laying down theory?
Oh, I can't stand that shit. You see on TV shows like that, they'd be holding like pointing and shit.
And just walking around with it.
Doing like this right here. That's not what it's for. Put it down, let it do what it's supposed to do.
So if something comes towards it, then it would be like that.
yeah.
Yeah. So you put it in a place where it's not going to have interference. And then if something comes towards it, then it starts lighting up. Then you're like, okay, well, there's nothing around.
Okay.
There's no reason for this to be lighting up. So there's another reason
For it to light
that
up.
this is lighting up.
Because like the older ones you see, the people be like, oh, so what's going on? They move, when you move it, the light's going to go. It's going to shake it.
Now, what you bring up is interesting because I've seen some of the shows, okay, and it's hard to separate what they're actually doing versus what's entertainment value, what the producers say. Walk around with it, and there could be a you on the other side of that going, "That's not what it's for," and they're like, "I don't care. This is a show."
Yeah.
All right. How much do you watch those shows and you roll your eyes and you're like, oh my God? And what are some of the things you're like, oh my God, that's ridiculous?
All the time.
Yeah, we do watch them. I mean, how else do you get into
Yeah.
it besides watching them?
Yeah.
You know,
I
but
mean, they're trying to get views.
absolutely, it's entertainment. That's what it's for. That's why it's on TV.
Is there a reason why they never find anything?
I mean, if they think it's entertainment, they should find something. But, did you find anything? You gotta find something tonight.
It could be the hook that keeps you coming back. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like the Bigfoot.
it's the hold on, and then you're like, oh God, they got something, and then here comes commercial. That's
always
what it
do
is.
that.
That's what it is.
It's like watching Shark Week, where I find these scientists inventing new ways to die that yield minimal research and answers at all. Like, what was the last one they were in? They decide to get in a sub that looks like a whale carcass. And lo and behold, the great white sharks just annihilated it. Did they learn anything? They learned that great white sharks love dead whales.
Why did that sound like a good idea?
I mean, you attracted them then, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know what they learned. I mean,
Science more
we
entertaining.
don't know.
Wait, are they alive?
They are alive. But here's the other thing. We don't know anything more about great white sharks than probably we did in the 1970s at all.
You know what?
You know?
Just leave the fishies alone.
Just leave them
Leave them
alone.
alone.
I think it links back to what we know about paranormal investigation. Most people probably comes from Ghostbusters and them walking around.
It does.
But if you ever sit there and listen to Dan Aykroyd talk about ghosts or UFOs, you will believe. Like, you will believe.
One would hope.
There's a thing Dan Aykroyd unplugged on UFOs. It's like an hour long. You will believe that you're watching that live.
I'm like, yes. Like, he really is good to listen to. He's fun. You're like,
He's actually Ray Stan.
Yeah, he is.
Maniacally.
100%.
Yeah.
So you guys
Talk
pretty
about
much-
the SE stuff.
What is this guy?
Okay, so that's another digital recorder. It picks up like 5 or 6 different channels. Got a 360 mics where you're going different sound stuff.
Okay.
It's advanced, but it's a pain in the butt to go through all that mess on that one.
Is that the thing with like the radio channel?
Yeah, that would be the stuff.
That's why I'm sitting there thinking this looks like an old school little radio.
Right. So this is the S box. This is one that we use that, like you were talking about,
Yeah.
it just kind of flips through, scans through radio.
It's a scanner.
And so the theory is that you ask questions and words pop through, pulling from the radio station.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it would just scan like that.
Well, I would definitely say that before we get done tonight, we need to play with this a little bit.
Watch this forward right now. Usually we do it. I'll
We
put it
all do.
reverse and AM.
I know you think. A lot of
Okay.
times I'll do AM forward, because AM, if you're empath,
AM, you're going to get
sensitive,
little.
a lot of that
You're
will
going to get
kind of messes with
Yeah.
me a little
You
bit,
get
and
so
so
far
I
away
have to
that you
do
get
that a little bit
background.
different.
Oh.
Voices and stuff. A lot of people actually broadcast on AM. You don't even realize it. That's a big thing. Ham radios are still a big thing.
Yeah,
So
but
basically, what you're doing is you're asking questions, and then kind of like Bumblebee from Transformers, they're using
Absolutely.
radio stations to try to answer the questions.
That is it. That is it.
Okay.
Well, they call that the ITC, instrumental transcommunication, trying to use devices connected to communicate with the paranormal.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
And there are different versions
You got
of
that.
this.
This one might be charged up. I don't know. This is the original SB7, what Zach uses.
Ah.
And then there are larger ones that have all kinds of fancy little buttons and stuff. But you know,
Speaking of
once I
that,
get this part, that's all I do.
I know he owns that museum, but what are you guys' thoughts on Annabelle? Like in this past, what was it, about a month ago?
Is that the doll? Yeah, this doll.
So they moved it. It was on display. But when they moved it to New Orleans, they had a big jailbreak and that plantation caught on fire.
Right. So the doll did that?
So this,
Maybe.
so this is my thoughts on it. It's New Orleans. All that stuff probably would have happened anyway.
Yeah.
But at the same time, how do we know that's the real doll? How do we not? How do we know they don't have a travel doll that they use?
That's a
There's no
very
way to
good point.
know.
No.
Would I go see it? Absolutely. You know, that I'm not sure. But do I No, it's the real dog. I don't know.
Mhm.
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, it's got what they're going for.
There's other haunted objects that are much more worse than her.
Hey.
It's nice.
Well, I gotta be honest with you, of all the equipment that you have up here,
Mhm.
this is the most intriguing. And what is going on here? Are we playing dice with the ghosts?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We are exactly doing that.
Okay.
So we
Is
go
it
in.
ghost or is it entity? Is it
Whatever
spirit?
you
What
want
do
to
we
call it.
refer to?
Whatever you want. We are not like
I
you know,
know,
whatever you want to
vernacular.
call. You know, we say we're paranormal investigators. We go ghost hunting. We go looking for spirits. We whatever.
A few years back, like I said, I got in trouble
not
for
gonna
using the term
happen.
ghost hunter, so I just
Not
want to be
gonna- I
respectful.
don't think it hurts my feelings any. Whatever
We're
we're.
called doing spooky shit.
Yeah, when we do a spooky shit. Like my family will go, "You got a spooky meeting today?" Like it's like,
Yeah.
you know, we don't get uptight about
So
it.
you go do an investigation. This is not like a for-profit kind of thing. This is just something you like to do.
Yeah.
And the end game is if you get an opportunity to bring somebody some peace, like this situation with their daughter, that's it. That's the end game. You know?
Absolutely.
Or
For us,
you're like, maybe you should put your house up for sale.
but for us, we are, you know, we're like you. We know there's other things. There things
That
aren't just how we
fascination.
see them straight on, and so that's kind of what we do it for, is to see how things are. What
Just to be fair, completely,
and-
like we don't see many of the spectrums of light.
Mhm,
You know, like there's like the mantis shrimp.
mhm.
I mean, who knows what this guy's seeing down there? Because like a lot of the things that he's seeing is invisible to us.
Yeah.
And I've often wondered, like, what do we look like?
Yeah.
Are we striped or
Right.
spotted when
Right.
they see us?
Right? Is how you're seeing me the way that I see me? Like what? Like
All right.
you know?
And that- we've done that since we were kids, right? Like,
Yeah.
how do we know that blue is blue to me and you're not seeing it as red? Yeah, we've always done
I've
that.
done a lot of
as youngins.
research to work on that thing. Actually, can pick up a camera can pick up a person's light and they're putting off.
Oh yeah, their aura. Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
Yeah, so Ryan Research is working on that.
That's
part of
interesting.
Their, it's everybody emits an aura, their
Yeah.
energy that surrounds their body, and so they were working on a way to actually capture that in film or photo. So that's one of their
yeah,
current
that's
projects
really
right now.
interesting.
But my daughter was telling me the other day that there are only certain people that can see a certain color of blue. And it's a very small amount of people. And I'm like, where do you learn this stuff? Like, it's just random stuff.
Well, so much random knowledge off the
And then you
TikTok.
go down the rabbit hole, like,
Yeah.
looking this up.
There's those people like John Mayer. John Mayer sees music as colors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So pretty.
I also know he likes mushrooms.
He does.
That is why.
But he's in the Grateful Dead. That should have been given. Right.
So Ray's still interested. All right.
I am. I'm much more interested in the low-tech version you're taking of this.
So this is basically just trigger objects. So let's say we're going into a prison and they don't have anything that they do all day but smoke, this is tobacco here.
Mhm.
Play cards, have dice, like you bring in stuff that's gonna pull them forward basically, or interest them or pique them, and you put it in a certain area. And that might be where we put the EMF detector and then put these stuff around it. So if they come forward to kind of mess with this, then we're able to pick it up.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what this is. Now this is
Y'all
just
been in a
our
prison? Have y'all been in a prison?
yes.
Yeah.
Have you? Yeah.
I've been in jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been in West Virginia State Pen. So before I joined this team,
Voluntarily, I hope.
yeah, it was my choice. But so before I joined Brian's team, was doing the same thing with some friends that we have in Savannah. And so we went to West Virginia State Pen and did the thing there, and I had my name called on one of these boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really my
They said true.
name. That's what I'm getting at. So you surprised y'all too.
Yeah.
So when it gets like Mary or Brian or Thomas or something like that, I don't really pay no mind to it. But my name is not very common.
Mm-hmm.
So to have my name come across one of those, it would in the church of the penitentiary. It was like, and just before that, I had said, they were saying some kind of vulgar things coming through. And I said, this is a church. Everybody calm down. And then it says Trudy. And I said, it's time to go. Andrea went back into it.
Oh my God.
Everything feels a little safer to me. So let's get back in here. But yeah, we've had my name. We've had stuff that talks about me a lot, and it gets scary sometimes. And but I got a whole group of big strong boys, so I don't worry too much about it.
Have you ever been in the prison? They're like, "Hey, girl."
So, not to me. In other places, but not to me in this prison. But we did have a girl's hair touched, the lower part of her back touched.
Oh my goodness!
So and I was there
because I was going to ask. You're like bringing, the things that prisoners play with, and you never thought to like bring in hookers.
My daughter was just at one the other day, and they went to Florida. One of the Florida, what jail was it?
Clay County.
Yeah, and my daughter went to that one. So there's certain ones I let her go to, and certain ones I don't. She's 13, so so she went to that one, and one of the questions when they were doing a session was, "How do you like the girls being here?" And they got boobs. Boobs on the thing. Boobs.
Okay.
We're like, so sometimes it's funny, sometimes it correlates, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you just throw it to the side, but when you get a lot of
Sometimes
stuff,
you run out. Of the front
sometimes
door.
you run out because your name's called. But the way that I look at it, if you get a lot of stuff back to back to back to back, like it's a conversation, then it seems more real to me. If I get one answer and then nothing else, I'm like, I'm really not going to take stock into that. But if we're asking questions and we're getting the answers like back to back to back, then that's more like, okay, I think I'm probably talking to something now. So, but yeah, these are trigger objects. These are the usual ones we take, unless we're going somewhere specific. Like we've taken little mini airplane bottles, just.
Then you bring hookers.
Yes.
All right.
Hey, we got one out on the corner for us, but. It just depends on the location that we go to. Will be what kind of trigger object we bring.
Okay.
So, yeah, very simple but very effective. Yep.
Well, the prison that Stephen King used as the basis for Shawshank, that's a real place, right? Was it actually called Shawshank?
No, it was a different.
It was different.
Now the one we went to had a few things filmed at it. I can't remember what it was though. But they had a whole showboat. They had so many things filmed there, but I don't remember.
And why are sanitariums a big deal?
So
Crazy people.
yeah. So we went to St. Albans. He's been 592 times, and I've been twice. But it's you got to look at the history. So again, we always look at the history of what it was before. So that was a boys' school.
Boys' school.
And then it was.
Oh, that's definitely haunted.
Yeah.
There were so many different things in so many locations that you get a mixture of spirits.
And plus on the line there was a Trapersville massacre on the property.
Yeah, Native American stuff going on right outside. And so you get an influx of different entities from different times and different kinds of spirits. There was the murder that happened there, and so much going on. So you get that feeling of feeling anxious, and you feel sick, and you feel kind of disoriented because that's how those patients felt when they were there. You get like little children's voices if you're in schools, because that's what was there.
Yeah,
they might have died there, but they lived
Yeah,
there.
it had to be really scary because now we think, we just had Autism Awareness Month, but 100 years ago we would have locked them in.
Like shot bombs, lobotomies, whatever.
Yeah, or drill a hole in their head, right? Because that's going to make things better.
Yeah. But I mean, look, if you think about it, I would imagine it'd be hard to find a piece of land that somebody hasn't died on.
Yep.
In the world.
Especially in Savannah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Savannah, okay, why?
Oh, I think it's the most
They-
haunted place in America. Savannah, Georgia.
They're a city buried on their dead.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They
Right.
were-
A city buried on their dead.
Was that Scarlet Fever that
Yeah.
they stuffed all the bodies in the
Different-
drainage systems? Yeah.
The different
Right.
battles that came through.
Mass
there-
graves.
Absolutely. There's roads built on top of graves. There's one grave there where some troops had come through and they needed somewhere to stay. It was raining, it was cold, and so they go into the cemetery and they pull bodies out of this like mausoleums so they can sleep down in the mausoleums. But soldiers get drunk and do whatever they want to do, and they get out and they start breaking tombstones and moving stuff, carving into the tombstones themselves. And so
Sorry, guys.
that one particular cemetery has the broken tombstones and stuff lined up on the back of the wall.
Oh, I've
And-
seen that.
Yeah, and then you can still see some of the tombstones that have been etched on and dates changed and like they died before they were born and
Mhm.
like just random stuff like that. So a lot of stuff like that kind of happened. We went and investigated the shirt he has on. Shout out Grave Face Museum there in Savannah, Georgia, and we our friends down there in Savannah. We did an investigation with them there too, and it was you have a port coming in right off the city. You have buildings that catch on fire. You have a lot of deaths just because of that. You have a lot of slavery going on and slaves that just died, and so much happens in one space. Sometimes it's hard to decipher who you're talking to, what you're talking to.
Mhm.
We picked up like kids, we picked up older people, we picked up younger ladies, we picked up stuff from the museum because it's an oddities museum, and so there are random strange stuff in there.
I noticed you said what you're talking to. You're referring to non-human entities.
Anything. Yeah, anything.
So
Um,
you saying there's animal ghosts? Are we talking aliens?
Yeah,
Demons?
yeah, I think that'd be more of the line like of demons.
Where on
Yeah,
Demons, they think we're right.
they do. They
Not everything is demonic. Some of it
Yeah.
has all life.
Yeah, demons don't. But, yeah, most of the time when we get a ghost that's not so nice, it's usually just an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, it's just somebody that was just livid in death and they're just being a jerk after.
I mean, how much of an asshole do you have to be to transition and still be an
if you died before you got to make it like that, you might be kind of an ass after fact too. I don't know.
Hey, look, if I get to be a ghost in the afterlife, I am definitely messing with people.
Trickster ghost.
I would definitely be that guy.
Absolutely.
Like, I know I put my cup of coffee right here.
Yeah, like we go into places, and I feel like the stuff that we get that's a little bit darker, I would say, it's just people wondering or spirits wondering what we're doing there. Why are you in my house?
Yeah.
Why are you doing all this stuff? Kind of stuff like that. And we could those videos. Are you going to show those videos? We
Yeah,
can
yeah.
explain the whole. Yeah, we can explain.
And
the
you'll be able
whole
to see
lot
the
more.
videos they're referring to on our YouTube channel. So
Yeah.
you're going to want to go there and subscribe there and check it out. We're going to do a little editing before we put it up. So
Yeah.
there'll be some extra information in there.
One of them is so we do this thing. You want to explain the Estes
We do
section that we do?
Basically, what it is, we take one of these right here,
Uh-huh.
put noise canceling headphones on, and blindfolds them and sit in the location, and everybody's out of the room, and it's going, and they're asking the questions, and we just repeat what we hear coming through the headphones.
So like Brian would be in the other room, headphones on, can't hear us, have that going, and we're sitting there asking questions.
What is the point in adding the extra step there?
So he doesn't hear the questions and
Yeah.
make shit up.
Yeah.
Just as running.
Or layman's terms,
Yeah.
people, because I could ask you a question and I could say, what's your name? And you'd be like, Ray. Okay. But no, we need to ask the spirit and we need him to hear what the spirit's answer
Yeah.
is. So this is the thing that sweeps through
Yeah.
and spits out the words.
Look, my point is why add human error instead of just using this as a standalone? Is just, I guess where I'm asking. Is there an advantage to having him filter it?
So it's kind of like what we were talking about
Yeah.
earlier
You can do
is
the context.
deprivation of everything else
Mhm.
so that all you're hearing is audio.
Mhm.
Like,
Okay.
so while we're sitting here, we could play it right now and we'd still pick up stuff. We could ask a question
But
right now.
isn't it even more interesting though? Because here's another question. He's got noise canceling
Yep.
headphones on. He has no idea where you at.
Absolutely.
It's like the Laurel Yanni
Yeah.
thing.
Right, but it seems to me that adding the human element there, at
Yep.
least to a layman, is going to come off more of the carnival trick.
No,
As
let's think about
opposed to
it.
that. I'm not
So-
accusing you of anything.
So
I'm just-
let's
I'm
ask you a
skeptic.
question.
Okay.
We're gonna wait and listen to an answer for that question.
Okay.
But he doesn't know the question. He's just spitting out random words.
Whatever words he
Yeah.
hears.
Random words
Mhm.
that are coming through. And so
Gotcha.
that's what we're waiting on is an answer from spirit, not an answer that we're all sitting here waiting for, listening to.
Yeah.
Because that's like suggestion. You're like, are you older than 50? You're going to sit here and listen for a yes or no. He might pop out 53. So it gives us a more definitive without us letting our minds play into it.
Okay.
Does that make any
Say-
sense?
What are you searching for?
Yep.
And he says lasagna.
It's just,
It's a good.
yeah. Because a lot of us just sit here, we just sit here and pop up all kinds of different things. But you get this person alone, and a lot of times the spirit, you have a spirit might not talk to one person.
Other ways we used to do it's like on a location, not big locations. Like I'll go in a room, do the thing, put a walkie-talkie in a room or a room near me. Everybody else go outside the house. Have a camera on me. Ask questions through the walkie-talkie.
So no one is in the house but him
Yeah.
and whatever spirits are there. So that works out too.
I should send some of the answers to be done. See what actually comes out. You'd be surprised at what stuff is answered.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And all the stuff that we're
Yeah.
saying comes out. So one of the videos, another reason we do it too is just it gives us a whole bunch of questions. We get a whole bunch of answers coming out of here, but we might catch something else somewhere else, which is a lot of what we sent you where our EVPs come through. So the spirit might not even want to answer us, but might talk out loud. So one of them is Brian sitting in a room, I'm sitting in another room, and we have a central location where we have somebody else asking questions. And he is essentially seeing which room is doing the answers. So we'll get answers from this way, answers from this way, sometimes none at all. But in the room Brian was in, this camera was here, sitting on a stool in front of an empty chair. And from behind it, you hear, "We got to watch her." Clear as day. Did you listen to it? Clear as day.
I haven't seen it.
One single
It's
sentence.
email.
We got to watch her. So
Meeting you?
it was so that's where so Brian got me afterwards. He's like, "You got to hear this." I was like, "Do I want to hear this?" Because every time he says, "You got to hear this," I'm like, "Do I really want to?"
The answer is no.
And I'm the only her. I'm the only her most of the time when we travel. And ironically, earlier we walked in that room, and in that chair, I had sat in a chair. Like there's that chair, a table, and another chair. And I'd come in, he's sitting on the couch. We're just kind of doing our little walkthrough and just kind of getting a feel for the thing and, just asking a few questions. I go in and I sit down in this chair and I turn to look at this chair and I see something sitting here. And I jump up and I run out the room. So it's the same chair. It says, "We got to watch her." I'm
What's
like,
going on with my phone?
whatever. Oh, hey.
You
What
might
is
have
that?
waited too long.
What is
That's
that?
new. I don't know.
I don't know. What
Riley, you take a look at that. See what's
Can
going on.
you see what's on the phone?
I'm not sure what that
He's
is.
like, hi. Getting weirded out. I don't know.
Everybody-
It's not like that. I've never seen nothing like that.
Now everyone's weirded out.
What is that? What is that?
It's photos.
Yeah.
Why are there photos just randomly popping up on my phone? We were doing a TikTok live.
Is a ghost trying to embarrass you?
Maybe.
What in the world?
Maybe.
What is it telling you to do something?
Oh yeah, it's making you sure you're still there. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Paranormal.
All right.
That's not a thing.
100%. I want to do this.
Yeah.
We're gonna try it out.
Yeah.
If you guys are willing.
Yeah.
I definitely want to try this out.
But back to the random questions. So you just come out of a room this is the most weird version of Jeopardy that could ever happen. So you just come out and say, Spaghetti Buick 1953, and then you hit the questions. Are you ever like, are you kidding me? Yeah.
He has come out before, and I don't think he sent this one, but we have a couple of apps that we use. We don't take much stock into just using just the apps. So, you know, they're pre-worded words. It's not just always spirit pulling them. They can only pull from so many words, or it just might be listening to us and repeating an answer that fits. So we don't pay too much stock into it, but we'll use it alongside stuff. So it's kind of like a backup. If it matches, yeah. If it matches, then we're like, oh, okay, well, this might be something, and then we'll keep going. If we don't get anything, then we stop that and, you know, change direction. We pivot a lot. So we had an app going, and the app said something. And Drew was with us, one of our other teammates, and I said, what did it say? And he said what it said. And then 2 seconds later, he says the same exact sentence. I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. There's no way he knew that. So it was the weirdest thing. Me and Drew were like, oh my God, what just happened? But how random is that you said the exact same words that this just said in the box?
What do you think spirits, you know, it's divided between those who don't want you around and just want to be left alone versus people who kind of crave human interaction to some degree?
I don't think there's many that I've seen that just like are like, yay, they're back. That kind of thing, because there are some places that we frequent a lot just because we get a lot of activity there.
Yeah. They're like, damn it, Trudy.
Right. It's like, girl. What do you think? Like, I don't.
It's like sometimes I have to be there. Sometimes I like St. Albans is always active, but last time we went,
they didn't talk to us at all. Like, it was nothing. We were ready to go. I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm done with all of y'all.
So what got you into this? To even want to do it?
Mine's a little bit of a different story. I worked in hospice when I was younger, when I started my healthcare career. So that and losing my grandmother, and then going into healthcare and going in hospice, and just realizing that death isn't as scary as people make it out to be, and that it's a natural process, and that just seeing the different ways that people pass, and it just made me curious for what's next.
I've heard a lot of hospice stories. There's a lot of hospice stories. You go down that rabbit hole.
Oh, yeah. And then just seeing about even just being in the hospital or passing away at home, or, you know, just any people see things. They see loved ones that come get them. They see scary things that come to them. Like, I've seen both sides, and it's scary, and it's beautiful, and it's natural. But that's kind of what got me into it. I'm like,
did you say death is beautiful?
It can be. It can be. If you see a horrible ending that they're going through, then absolutely it can be. It can be very peaceful and surrounded by loved ones, and everybody's singing. I've seen 20 people, families, singing around people's beds while their loved one passes away. So yeah, it can be. It really is. But all of that just kind of made me go, well, what really is? What is this coming back to get them? You know, what is there? What's been coming in their room for the past month? You know, what else is there? You know, so
the only guarantee we got.
How
about you? How did
taxes and death? That's all we got.
I mean, I was always a weird kid, so I thought he was going to.
She's like, I'm just
weird kid. Werewolves and vampires and shit like that. But I always like horror movies, but I had a lot of experiences growing up, like seeing my grandfather's spirit in the house. I always wondered what it is, what's causing this. I want to know the answer, so I've been interested ever since.
Okay.
What are the answers that you've come up with?
we're still with that. I saw this.
They want me here talking to us.
But we this is our main part of what we do, but we look at other stuff too. We like the cryptids as well. We go to however many paracons that we can, just so we can meet other people that are in the paranormal, because it's not just about spirits, it's other stuff. It's stuff that's not normal.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah.
We can set right up in a booth. So you see the cryptids. We went to the Ryan Center not too long ago and bent spoons. I mean, just bend spoons with your mind.
Really? Did you bend one?
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's the weird one. So
When you go back to it, you talk about all those shows and how they never really found anything. Well, Josh Gates on Destination Truth went to the Alps and he found a tuft of hair just on a tree. It got DNA tested. There's no DNA on record for that matches that hair. So is that proof of the Yeti? We don't know.
So that's one of those things.
Like,
You didn't debug it, but you did.
Yeah.
Either, so it's kind of in limbo. Right?
Also, it actually, I think there was a story about him going to Mexico, right? It was on the show. They found a little mummy that was about this big. Well, it was in Mexico. It got taken away. Well, it just looked like a little skeleton dude. But it was that big, right? Like the size of an elf. And the Mexican government took it away from them. They didn't let them test it.
Yep.
Like, that's a legit. Dude's like a real life Indiana Jones.
He sure is.
Like,
Yeah, he really
I
is.
don't know him. I'm checking him out.
I don't know. We as a country do that all the time.
well, we do. We're not going to take it.
Until I figure out what this is. Actually, we're not letting
You're not going to talk shit about us. So we're taking this away. You don't get to play with our stuff.
So look, you guys, you know your cryptids and everything, and honestly, I would like to know what your favorite cryptid is, but I gotta ask you, what is your favorite conspiracy theory? Even if you don't believe it, just what's your favorite conspiracy theory?
Oh my
And
God.
I'd like to have an answer individually.
See, I didn't come. I see. I wasn't prepared for that. Right? I come for what's your favorite haunted location? Oh my gosh. Oh.
There's tons of conspiracies out there.
I don't. So
I can't lie. I do it.
I am the one that I will listen to conspiracy theories, but I'm not going to take stock in anything. Anything.
Of course. You spin anything.
A lot of the conspiracy theories here lately have just been coming true, so they're no longer conspiracy theories.
So let's talk about like Area 51.
Okay.
Like, so Area 51, like there are UFOs and there are aliens, and I will stand on my grave to tell you that. I swear there are.
You
Because
there's aliens.
there is not a space that all that space out there. You can't tell me we are the only thing here. There, you just can't do that. You just can't.
I'm way too sensitive to touch.
I'm sorry.
Right.
Back up.
Don't touch it.
Man, you spent so much time looking this way, talking.
Don't
I
touch
thought my he'll pick it up.
It's okay. It's okay.
Sorry, guys.
So if I had to pick anything, it probably would be that. Now, I only know the basics because I don't take stock in everything. I don't watch the news anymore. I try to stay on TikTok unless I'm shopping. So I just don't, because you don't know what to believe anymore unless I'm out there doing it myself. I don't know what to believe.
Oh, with AI and Photoshop and everything, it's so the worst it's ever been.
You can't.
Yeah.
Some of it.
Deep fakes, whatnot.
Yeah.
It's just unless you have an IT mind, you can't see through.
Maybe still.
Yeah.
So like, look at the Will Smith eating spaghetti, right? You ever seen that?
No, but I'm
Right,
ready.
they finally got it right. Like it was weird. He'd be like eating, and all of a sudden it would shoot out his ear. It would just move around randomly. But
See, this is
like the
why
last one to come out, they nailed it.
I would
It's
say
been a thing for
That Will Smith eating spaghetti thing it's been a big test for everyone.
well, the only thing that's ever captivated me was the JFK assassination. No AI, no anything. You know, nothing but an 8 millimeter, you know, film and whatnot. And, you know, and watching, you know, big time movie stars make a film about it and kind of justifying it. And you know what? When I got to the end of that rabbit hole, I was like, there's no conspiracy here.
Well, that's where the term conspiracy theory came from.
He was an expert marksman.
Yeah.
And he was in an open car.
Yeah.
You know, end of story.
Yeah.
And as far as where his, you know, moved and whatever, you get hit with a bullet, you move all sorts of ways. It's
Absolutely.
just not, you know, but it's a good lesson of how a decent writer, a decent anybody, a creative mind, or somebody looking for something can spin it anyway and make it. Do you know how much schlock, and I love him, but Joe Rogan peddles as far as conspiracy theories? I mean,
He's great.
anything.
He admits it.
Anything. And the way he told me is, you ever see this video? No, Joe, I'm not watching your video. This is a snow leopard that walks on two legs and can shoot an automatic weapon. No, I'm not watching it, Joe. I'm tired of you. But it just goes to show if you can take enough strands and weave them together, you can make a conspiracy theory that lasts for decades. You know?
But then sometimes people are just Kurt Cobain. Kurt Cobain didn't kill himself. There's no way Kurt Cobain committed suicide. It was covered up, but the term conspiracy theory gets thrown around, but now people look crazy because, it's a conspiracy theory. There's no, Courtney didn't pay off the cops. It's not the only case in history where it was suicide the same day.
I think the only thing that people wonder about is the length of a shotgun and pulling the trigger. That's it. But people forget he tried to off himself in Italy while on tour with Nirvana.
Right now, hold on.
Or did
See, that's my conspiracy theory.
And Courtney Love was a heroin addict. There is no way that she pulled this off. Courtney Love. She's going to put lipstick on her.
So there you go.
Evidence by her picture.
In Rome, Courtney had a full face of makeup at 5 a.m. when the EMS arrived. Reporters arrived before EMS. Kurt they were blister packets, but it was a combination of champagne and Rohypnol. The Rohypnol was in Courtney's prescription was in her name, and that same night, Kurt had caught her with Billy Corrigan. So
I don't know about everybody.
it was getting good.
So what's your drink? What is your
My favorite conspiracy theory?
Yep.
You know what? It's many times I've asked that question. I really haven't, because I love them all. I love consuming them, and I believe almost none of them. You know, I'm not.
The story's good.
Then I'm like, okay, I'm done with that. Yeah, you listen to it and you're like, whatever, and then you just keep on going. That's kind of how I do it.
I think my favorite is Planet X and the Anunnaki, right? And all the different effects they've had on us over the thousands of years. It's a long running one, but I think the Anunnaki is my favorite conspiracy theory.
I see. Rabbit hole to go through
You hurt yourself.
I'm going to link it all together. It said favorite haunted location, Joe Rogan. There's stories of Sam Kinison haunting the comedy store. Joe Rogan's a lot of comedians talk about Kinison hanging out in the main room of the comedy store.
Life, you're gonna be an asshole.
Oh, right.
that part.
So what's your favorite haunted location? Or?
Well, I haven't been to them all, so I can't really give you a good answer. I can tell you that I would love to go overseas and haunt there because it's a little darker there. Like all the stuff
Germany,
you see there,
Ireland,
it's a
Scotland,
little darker.
England.
And I want to know why. And I want to know if it's
Suicide Force.
I want to know what's different over there that y'all are getting all this really creepy stuff going on. And, we just get Grandpa turning on the lamp.
Older.
Yeah, older.
Yeah. And just like we were saying earlier, it depends on the energy of the land and what all is going on there. And I really I'd love to do that. That's like on my bucket list. Yeah.
My favorite is what's it called? The creek over there, West Rockingham. There used to be that mill. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
It's like a community garden there. It's right on Steel Creek. Yeah. All right. So when that mill was still there, as youngins, we climbed up. It was a fire escape on the back. So we climb up the fire escape and jump across over to the building is still there. You would climb up, jump across, and we would hang out in there, just being dumb kids, smoking pot or whatever. And on the way out, we're coming down, and you can see the chains on the doors. There's one up top and there's one down below. When I got down to the bottom, we're waiting for everybody else to work their way down. I just being a smart act, I'm like, hey, I knock on the door. I was like, y'all mind if I come in for a minute? Just being a dummy. And the chain breaks because the door flies open and there is literally nobody standing on the other side. So I just booked it right on out of there.
Just
And never went back. But yeah.
All right.
I guess that would be at least my most memorable haunted experiences.
That's
I
great.
don't know what it was. I'm not going to necessarily, relinquish that it was a ghost or it wasn't. But I will say when the doors came open, there was nobody on the other side. And it broke the chain.
I've never been anywhere, but I'd love to go to the Island of the Dolls in Mexico.
That's so awesome.
That sounds.
It's so there. Yeah, everybody's been there.
Yeah.
A bunch of weathered dolls.
I'm not going
It's the scariest thing you've ever seen on any of them because they're just randomly looking, So backstory, guy, little canals in Mexico, right? A little farm set up on little islands. Guy finds a little girl that had drowned. And so he started bringing dolls and hanging up dolls for her. All over everything, he eventually hangs dolls. He goes crazy, says he sees the little girl. He drowns in the same spot she does. People aren't allowed to really go there now. But like on the Josh episode, they're just randomly looking around and they get in and all of a sudden one of the dolls just opens its fucking eye. The eyes close and it pops open. Scary as shit. No, scary as shit. That's all it takes.
Yeah, I'd be out. As much as I love, and then this is what we do. We go to look for this. There's still stuff that scares me. It scares me.
What's been your scariest
They have
experience?
so many bloopers of me jumping up, just
That'd
random.
be me.
What was your most terrifying experience since you've been ghost hunting?
Oh.
I know it was a good one. There's been that many, or
Yeah.
Use my name. That would be enough. For
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Unless somebody brushed your hair or did
When you're
it's a
touched
fairly
and you're not prepared for being touched, then that kind of gets
I
you.
got used to it.
Yeah.
I've actually gotten picked up going to a wall once, so.
Yeah, he's had some crazy stuff. He's been
Were you antagonizing?
yeah.
It seems like that's the route I would go in.
Yeah.
Just the
I used to do that before, but now I don't do that.
In fact, I did have an experience in my backyard where so I got one of those Sherman March signs like right there. Hey, my front yard, like you cross the street and go up a little bit, it's right there. I was in my backyard and I was fucking with a flashlight. And I was just pointing it at the woods. There's nothing back there but woods and a swamp. I'm like, hey, can you do that? You can't do that. Light flashes back at me, and I just fucking bolted. I never attempted it again.
Well, sometimes the scariest stuff that happens to us is more with human interaction than anything. Like we were walking down a dirt road and saw lights pointed out at us, and we're like, "What's in that house?" And it ended up being a person. We're like, "Oh my God!" So those are the scary ones. And then we had the cops called on us.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a paranormal episode on a TV show where they think they see something, they see the shadows, and it's another paranormal team? And they're over there going, whoosh.
The funny thing is that's why say Brian uses green lights, and so when I used to do this before joining the team, I always had just regular flashlights with white lights. And so, but everybody on our team carries green. So, you know, if you're going to see a light come on in a room, then it's going to be a white light. And this kind of helps us tell the difference between us and something else going on.
But you're telling that has to have happened at some point. Where there's something's moving. And they're over there going,
absolutely. You run into people, or you hear somebody talking.
Yeah.
And you're like, what is that? Oh, that's such and such. Like, you just hear them around the corner.
That's Frank.
And we have to like divide up the team, and depending on the location.
Was that you? No, we didn't. Well, shit, it wasn't them.
Yeah, stuff running, and you think it's somebody upstairs, but there's nobody upstairs. So
How big is the team?
you have to call on
There's
locations.
5 of us.
And then we have randoms that we call in once in a while. Like I said, my daughter hunts with us.
Mhm.
My son and his girlfriend have done a couple things with us. So we have another team that we team up with sometimes.
Riley, you're up.
That's right,
How
Riley.
did you know your other three members?
Well, when we started the team, Andy was one of the original members, and my dad's been with every team I've had. So, and it's been we had several, but all the drama going on. There's a lot of drama in the paranormal field. We had to downsize the team
Drama
and
and everything anymore.
get the team where I wanted it, how I wanted it to run. I was moving smooth, so the way I wanted it to go. But then about a year ago, we was talking about stuff with Ryan. He was going to St. Albans.
Yeah, for the first time.
Yeah. I said, "We'll just join our team." She joined the team.
What could be that, I piqued my interest as far as drama. It's like you're doing this for fun, a hobby, to help people, whatever.
Yeah.
What is the drama?
A lot of teams just see going to location. They have claims of that location.
They gatekeep.
Yeah.
Location, won't share information.
Right.
So we're not interested in finding the truth. We're trying to get notoriety online. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, a lot of gatekeeping going on, or that's the main
They
thing.
put you down on how you investigate, what equipment you use, and stuff like that.
And everybody's different.
Okay, that seems normal.
Yeah.
Drama and everything.
Everything. But every team's different, and you investigate different with different teams. When I investigate with this team here, I investigate a different way. When I investigate with my friends in Savannah, I investigate a different way because we all flow differently.
Mhm.
And then you just adjust to what works best with the team members that you have. So like if we do the investigation of this house, then we'll be more teaching as we investigate. So you guys know how to do things and have questions. And so we have to adjust the flow, but what we'll do is adjust the flow to how we know and how we investigate so that we can pull you in and it runs smoother.
Well,
So-
2 things I want to ask you. Yes, when are you coming back to this place? I do have a friend who claims to be sensitive to this stuff, and he sensed an older male presence and a young female, none of which match up with the previous occupants of this house, and which makes sense. It's 108 years old. It's God knows what's. And he sensed it in the basement. And so when are you coming back? And B, what's happening in October in Marion?
So we'll get our schedules together and find out when we're coming back. Do you want to tell them about October?
Yeah, October 4th in Marion, we're putting together the Holiday Spirit Summit with Raven Paranormal and
Holiday
the
House.
Holiday House.
Yeah, we're co-hosting with them, a Paracon. Yeah.
So it's a convention, but also an investigation with multiple teams.
So the
Yeah.
investigation will be at the end. It's not necessarily with multiple teams. There'll be tickets for the there will be a beginner level one,
Mhm.
and then there will be a longer later one for more advanced. Or anybody can actually go on it, but if you're just uncomfortable and want to do the beginner one, then that would be the first one. Where we're gonna walk, where you'll have somebody walking through with you and kind of helping you through it. And then the later one's like, here's your equipment, we'll go over it, have fun kind of thing.
Okay.
All the proceeds go through the restoration of the house.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's for the holiday house itself. We found it last year sometime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
last year.
And that's one of our regular locations. We have regular locations that we go to fine tune the new ways we want to do things, to try them out before we go to larger locations or more active locations. And so that's one of our places that we kind of go to regularly. So we got to talking to her one day, and she said she wanted to put a Paracon on, and we're like, we'll be glad to help you. And so Jennifer Van Boskirk is her name, and we've been working with her ever since. We've got speakers that are lined up to come and talk about different things. We've got cryptids coming. We've got just talking to spirits in general.
Vendors.
Yeah, a lot of vendors that we're reaching out to actually just sell items, and we'll have food trucks, and it'll be an all-day thing from like 9 to 5, 9 to 6, 9 to 5. And then the investigation will be later that
We're
evening.
having like workshop classes and stuff.
The home was originally a home and for the Holiday family. And after it passed through the Holiday family's hands, it became a funeral home. And so the embalming room is actually still intact in the back.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
And there's still, since she's bought it, there's still some things that she's still working on. Like the attic is just now getting opened up and where people can start to go in it. She's still got the basement that she's got to unlock because they sealed up the basement for some reason and we don't know.
Oh.
They sealed it. When they sealed it, what do you mean?
Yeah, it closed it all. Like,
Why is it like they boarded it up? They
Bricked
concrete
up?
over it,
no,
fixed it?
I think it was
Brick and
more
mortar?
bricked up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like to the point that she didn't even know there was a basement. Because even I think she said even the blueprints didn't even show a basement on it. But there's a basement.
Oh, there's something.
So we're putting on a Paragon.
How old is it?
So is the basement going to be opened up?
Circa
In October?
1860 something.
Okay.
I think I've got it on the flyer over there. Yeah.
Are you coming in with a sledgehammer or are we going in the basement?
No, she's in the front. She's finished in the attic first, and then they're going to start on the basement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, who
So it's
knows?
not going to be open by October.
I don't know. Probably not.
Maybe that, I mean, honestly, that'd be a great.
I'd buy tickets
incentive,
to watch it.
I'll go to Sledgehammer. We'll get it open. Let's do it.
And that's what we do. We help her as much as we can. You know, it's a lot of volunteer
I think
stuff,
you guys
and
should take
so-
the sledgehammer and just take it. It'd be like, Rudy, the
Kind
hater.
of like, you know, on Ghostbusters, I don't want to be the one to open it up. Or like Indiana Jones, like the ark. I don't want to be the one to open it.
So you last year, Karen, you're sending them like, hey, you want this footage or don't you?
Well, you know, back then it was against the law to do autopsies, right? Yeah, you couldn't just open a dead body and see how it works.
It's still that way.
And so
You can't just do it. I can't even request that it happens. I have to go through the magistrates. Them to request the
well, in 1860, you couldn't, nobody did it. Yeah, nobody. So they would do that. They would just take somebody's basement and somebody that was a doctor would just go fuck around with some corpses. Ben Franklin's house, right? Ben Franklin's house, they found bones of like 200 people because he would let people come in and do autopsies in the basement. Right? And they didn't find that out 150, 200 years later. Like, hey, that's what was going on. So you never know. Maybe that's the reason it's not on the blueprint. Maybe they were just using it to figure things out. Because it wasn't rituals. They were just trying to figure out how we
We're
work.
still practicing medicine.
What the next horror movie that somebody makes a leap with after they learn that is Ben Franklin, the most prolific serial killer.
Been up to that.
Whatever he wanted to.
It was only a couple years ago that they found that stuff, and that's the first headlines that came out was Ben Franklin, a serial killer. Then there was like, no, he's just letting his friends fuck around with dead bodies in the basement.
No, that's much better. Right? It's all great.
Okay.
I mean, comparatively, it's,
Well, my basement.
I do want to ask. There's plenty of horror movies that say based on a true story, based on a true. Have you ever visited one of these sites where the movie was shot in the same place where the phenomenon might have happened or whatever? You know, like a haunting in Connecticut. They said that was real or whatever. Have
Or
you
the
ever?
Burkittsville Woods.
Yeah.
I don't think I have.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. No, I don't think I
You
have.
haven't
I've
ever?
been to places where horror movies have been filmed, but
Mm,
nothing, not nothing any.
No.
No.
Like you've never walked through the genuine.
Hadn't been through the Amityville hadn't been through the Amityville house.
And they gutted it too.
The Conjuring house or none of that. Yeah.
So,
Oh no, you're not
Have you
with
ever
that
guys ever done the where the Union soldiers are buried
Where's that?
down close to the river? There's like 4 Unions. So when they were coming through,
Yeah.
and it was just like
Mhm.
random sickness and stuff like that.
Mhm.
They weren't like killed in the war. Yeah, there's 4 of them buried back there.
Okay.
And then there's that infamous Revolutionary War cemetery in Chirac.
What about just Blewett's grave? You guys ever gone down there and tried anything?
No.
There's a lot of dead people in that damn.
There's a lot of dead people.
Here's the deal: like, if you fall in while building a dam, if you fall in while building a dam and they're pouring, they don't stop; they just keep going.
Yeah.
You're just a part of the dam
Yeah.
now.
That's
There's
it.
a lot of dead people inside the dam itself.
That's crazy.
You know that?
I wanted to ask my dad about that. He used to
Yeah.
work at Blue Falls Dam, so I wanted to ask him about
Why do
that.
they fall?
Man, because they own rickety old wood. You hired not the brightest people to do this.
He sneezed.
Good pay, you're not that smart, you don't really have any other opportunities. You're going to go through it, even though they got rickety equipment.
I mean, it wasn't even good pay.
I'm
Like,
not saying they were good pay
Right,
for this
Jim.
right country, but for this area, like, hey, we're going to give you $1 a week to come do it. And
Yeah.
maybe you're making 30 cents a week at your other job. Like, yeah, I'm going to go do that.
yeah.
Well, same thing about when the Brooklyn Bridge was built. There's how many people
A lot of
plummeted
yeah.
to their death.
Hoover Dam's
Yeah.
full of bodies.
Mhm.
Same reason, though. You
To
can't
be-
stop. You
Yeah.
can't stop and start
To
opening all
become
that up.
part of it, you're like, oh.
Literally, you're literally a part of this project now.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just like, oh, that was horrible. Anyway, give me another look. Yeah.
You're going to need another worker.
Call HR.
What, right? So, Derek, I want to know your cryptid. I want to know your cryptid. That is your favorite.
man.
Okay, so I could say it's Bigfoot, but it's not actually Bigfoot. It's the orang pendek.
Where's that one?
So that's in Africa. It's like Africa's version of Bigfoot.
Mhm.
Except it's more of like what gnomes are kind of based on, because little dude's like 3 foot tall, like just
Mhm.
3 foot tall monkey man,
Mhm.
right? He's still seen like you see people see him all the time, like,
Interesting.
but it's just a little Bigfoot.
He talks like Yoda. He's really good at math.
You go to Africa and some of these tribes that see it, the tribes like this is everyday life to them. This is a real thing. And people go there looking for it, but you're not going to catch it with the camera. Like, when was the gorilla first seen?
Right.
Right? There were stories of it, but it's been less than a 400 years since someone actually said, yeah, it's there. We saw, we got pictures.
Yeah.
So it's so remote and deep in the jungle that,
That's what my daughter and I were talking about.
very well.
People didn't know that apes existed. They didn't know there were gorillas. They didn't know that we're this. Like, you just come across it one day and you're like, oh, new species.
Macaulay and Bimbe, also in Africa, it's a dinosaur. These tribes like, hey man, we see it all the time.
Specifically, that's in the Congo.
Like, just hanging out.
It's so thick that a brontosaurus
Yeah.
could be living in it. They would have no idea.
Wow.
I think we would know.
A brontosaurus, maybe. Maybe.
So nobody knew about chimpanzees until we saw a picture of Jane Goodall.
Since the only thing we have is bones, I don't think we would if a dinosaur was walking down the street, we wouldn't recognize it as the.
Yeah, it's not going
I
to
really
look like the way we picture it.
Mhm.
No.
Yeah.
Because if you look, they'll take other skeletons and stuff, and they're like, all right, well, we're gonna put the skin and everything on this,
Kind of
like we would
piece
do
it
a
together,
dinosaur,
yeah.
and they're like, it looks crazy,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Josh Gates was looking for the moa, which we killed the moa off in like the 1920s. Ostrich type bird. Again, we're in Africa. People still saying they see it. Josh's team went there looking for it. They found a feather. They DNA tested the feather. The feather turned out to belong to a bird that's been extinct longer than the moa, because I think the moa died off in the 20s. But hey, so we just found a feather of a bird that's been dead for 150 years. So it could still be in the jungle, just hidden.
Yeah, but I mean, dinosaurs, maybe some small ones, but again, I don't think we would have, if we saw a dinosaur, we probably got T-Rex all kind of wrong,
I mean,
inflatable cup.
They say that's the Cyclops. Yeah, he was doing elephant skull because it looks like it's got a great big eyeball right there, but it doesn't. The eyeballs sit further off to the side, so on and so forth.
But the stories of unicorn come from the rhino, and
Good.
people,
others out there that
seeing it, and then I'm just drawing it in a cave, right? I think it's fucking thing. I'm just drawing it, and then
The skinny rhino.
yeah, like
This.
oh, it was a little too chubby.
if I'm not an artist. If I could just draw an animal I saw for 30 seconds from memory, it's gonna look nothing like that. I promise.
And then telling everybody, you stay away from that.
Especially if I'm drawing it with a rock on the side of another rock.
You're better than one while you're sitting there scrolling on the rock. It's a liger. It's a combination of a tiger and a lion. It's like my favorite animal.
So there's there's a liger and there's a tyon. A tyon goes the other way, I think. I can't remember which way it is. So
I saw a source.
I think a liger is a lion mother and a tiger father, and you can flip those, but it doesn't get big and stuff. Yeah, you don't get the same results.
And the thing, 50 years ago, that was a myth, and then Joe Exotic and the dude from Myrtle Beach was like, "Hey, let's fucking make it happen."
Yeah.
Right?
They're big. They got it at Columbia Zoo.
Wow.
Well, I was at the zoo in Cameron, and there was a zorse. It was a combination of a zebra and a horse, and it looked pretty much like a horse until you saw it almost looked airbrushed. The stripes off its
On the
rear
front.
end. Yeah. And I was like, what is that? And it was at the time run by a family of a former student of mine. So I was just like, what is that? That's a zorse. And that's a thing. That's the thing that happens.
It's
How did you
absolutely.
do that?
So, all right, guys. Well, let's. I don't know. What do you call it? A seance? What are we doing?
Don't be calling. I don't think
Yeah, and you look out.
Great, you have so much to learn.
That's my whole life story, honestly.
So you just want to see how it works.
Yes, I want to let's scare the shit out of Sean.
No.
We get this.
Let's use the lantern as a possible trigger
right.
here.
Okay.
Put this down. We didn't get any questions, so I'll hand that off.
If it would just light up that lantern, it would make your
Oh,
day.
they would all say we're full.
Let's get it. All the stuff out of the way. Slide that over this way. Let's make sure we
Don't leave, Riley.
I'm taking the cat with me.
It won't protect you.
All right.
You look at any negative energy, PC.
So is there so we asked the question, is there a certain amount of time that we have to wait?
We can like
Just a few seconds.
like whatever. And then sometimes we'll have this going, and then on the flip side, we'll have one of our apps going that just kind of spits out words too.
You want to lead it off? You got a question?
It's in your house.
I mean, I wouldn't even know where to begin.
So the first thing you could say is,
Hey.
Hi.
a lot of times when we go into a house and we start stuff like this, we introduce ourselves. We'll say my name is Trudy, this is Brian, Sean, Derek, and Ray, and we just come to speak to anybody that might be in the house. And sometimes we'll just kind of wait and just see if we get anything. You hear little whispers, you hear random alerts. You just hear random alerts and stuff go off. We'll wait for a little bit, and then we would say, hey, we have this lantern here. The light came on the other day. Did someone make this light go on?
Are you going to adjust the scan speed?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's another reason we do two different ones. Two different ones is because we might, our ears, your ears might be a little too sensitive to a faster speed, to a slower speed, and so you'll do two separate. That's why we're kind of doing two separate ST sessions.
Okay. All right, so no answer on that one. What was their name? Johnson? Everly Johnson?
Oh, I don't think it's the Johnsons that are here. They live a wonderful life and they happily transition. Yeah, no, I don't think so. It's way older than that. Whatever it is.
So,
Who's ever here? Are you okay that I'm here? Yeah. Do I need to pack?
is there an older gentleman in this house?
Does having so many people here make you uncomfortable?
No, have you met his cats? They're assholes.
Probably like, what is going on in this house tonight? So a lot of times we'll have a recorder going. That way we can go back and see if we miss stuff. And at the same time, we're listening to other stuff that might be going on around us because we may be trying to get people here and there may be something going on already. If that's the case, like we'll split up on them to kind of go investigate where that noise was. And if they start hitting stuff, then that's where we kind of gravitate to. Sometimes the spirit will cause something to happen somewhere else, just so you leave the room that you're in, because they don't want to be bothered.
Well, I can't explain this, but also part of me thinks that maybe it was a one and done. It was. Yeah.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I don't see any way that could have functioned. You know.
Are you trapped here?
And then sometimes this one might not work, and we'll turn on the other version of the spirit box, or spirit box. We'll turn on. We have several different versions, just because. I mean, who knows how to use? I mean, if they're 80 years old, who knows what to do? A lot of times you're running into who knows what to do. We actually have a candle that works as is it EMF? Is it EMF? It's an EMF candle. So it looks like a candle, it looks like a regular candle. But when something comes near it, it flickers. So it's like a trigger object, but it's serving the purpose as a piece of equipment too.
Okay.
Because if you just lay an EMF right there, you say, can you come closer to this device? Can you come closer to this box? You don't say EMF detector because somebody 9 years old doesn't know what that is. So we started making items that look like things. There's things called Boo Bears that look like teddy bears. So if you're trying to, talk to a child spirit, they go towards a teddy bear before they go towards something that looks like they said they'll hurt, So a lot of times we'll get stuff off the candle.
I don't know how many weeks ago this was, but I've only been in the house properly since. And
Okay.
and I know it
I
happened.
just seen it pop up saying curse, so that made me wonder what was going on.
I had just moved fully in, gutted the yard, restored the yard, and that sort of thing. It was the first time that it looked like a lived-in place. And then this happened, and then we never saw it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
God that-
Sorry,
And that
guys,
was-
no answers tonight.
So that was just a few minutes after, a few weeks you said after you got here?
Yeah, after I got here.
That makes it even more interesting.
Mm-hmm. And we had gutted the yard and restored
Yeah.
the landscaping and done
Yeah.
a lot of stuff to make it look like it used to.
Yeah, that makes it sound even nicer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice is good.
Just got a little thank you.
Yeah. It sounds like it. Like, hey, good job. Yeah. I'd take that and roll with it. Yeah, I don't see anything that, there's no solar panels. There's no, did you move the table? Yeah, okay. Sorry. That's immediately what we do. We're like, what happened? What happened? So, and that's what you do. And you did everything you should have. You checked everything that it could have been. And it's not happened since.
Nope.
And so
Not a thing.
is that a faulty thing? I mean, who's to say there's no energy source? Paranormal? It's not normal. I mean, so
Use whatever prefix you want. It's
do
not
you
normal.
want to take it as a nod from the previous owners? I would. Absolutely.
Well, I can live with that.
And I can sleep with that.
Yeah. And that's what we do. We just got to figure out what's going on. Sleep better tonight, kind of thing. And we go to the other locations just because we're hunting ghosts, basically. We're hunting ghosts.
Of course. Well, man, we sure very much appreciate you taking the time to come and hang out with us and kind of teach us about your interest.
Yeah, we've been doing it a while.
How long?
How long have you been doing it? I'd say I've been doing it since 2009. 2009. So you probably a few years before that?
About 2000.
About 2000. And when did you guys put the company together? The organization?
I started PeeDee Region Paranormal in 2017.
2017.
Why is it that only that one ball going off?
Because it's the only one we turned on.
Oh, okay.
You guys said that you did go do some stuff for Stephanie, right? You did Frogette, you did Axe to Grind, and you did Birmingham.
We did the Axe in Birmingham. Another team doing the Frog said we're supposed to go do it, but the key didn't work to get upstairs.
Okay.
Nice.
So did y'all get any hits out of any of the buildings?
Birmingham, over at Birmingham, we did like upstairs at the old USO used to be.
Uh-huh.
Got a few shadow movement up there. The downstairs in that area there was better investigating at one time, and I heard something bounce and some little rocket hit my foot in that one area. That over in Birmingham, we call it EVP, but you could hear it like bottles clanging together like old medicine bottles, and hear an old man talking. So
I'd say the Rock is pretty standard, especially being down there kind of close to the railroad track, is that the bricks, they're so old. It used to happen in Frogettes all the time. It freaked me out at first, and I was sitting there and I was watching one day. I was just staring at the wall, and I watched it happen.
Yeah.
It just a little piece of the mortar or chunk of brick will fall off and hit the floor.
So funny thing happened to me in one of our other locations we went in. Oh no, was that you that it threw it out at Holiday?
what are you and Andy's Rock?
Yeah. So we were standing upstairs, and this is an area where there's nothing falling at all whatsoever. And then come up over the stairs. Like it come from the stairwell and then come towards us from that direction.
You know, at Birmingham?
No, this was at a different house.
Okay.
So we try to, like you said, like with the bricks and stuff and being in old places, is to try to figure out where this might have come from. But when you can't find that same piece to fit anywhere, you're like, okay, where does this come from? So it's not uncommon to have stuff around you. I mean, Bigfoot throws stuff all the time. Just saying. But no, it's not uncommon. It's not uncommon to get touched, like, or you have your shirt pulled. One of my other teammates had their shirt tugged when we were at Great Face Museum in Savannah. So, and I actually caught that on video. You can actually see the shirt move.
Oh.
And you see him react, and he turns around at the same moment that his shirt tugs. And he's not standing against the wall. There's no hooks there. There's no person there. And he saw the video of it, and the shirt just moves, and he immediately turns. And he didn't say anything. And then we started getting a few EVPs. He's like, a few minutes ago, I felt like something tugged my shirt. I was like, why didn't you say anything? So always important to say when you feel something. That way we can figure it out. But went back and looked on the video, and I zoomed in and I zoomed in and I zoomed in, and sure enough, this shirt got pulled. That was really awesome catch. Awesome. So fun.
So if somebody would like to get in touch with you to whatever, if they have questions or if they are actually looking for you to come and investigate some stuff, how would they go about getting a hold of you?
Facebook,
Yep.
PeeDee Paranormal Facebook, or either or PeeDeeRegionParanormal@gmail.com.
PeeDee Region Paranormal
PD Region Paranormal
at gmail.com.
at gmail.com or PD Region on Facebook.
Yep.
TikTok.
You have a page, or is it a YouTube?
Just a page.
Just a page?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and you're on TikTok too?
Yeah.
What is it on? Is the same thing on TikTok?
Same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
I'll look you up. I didn't know you guys were on there. So,
We just now recently started using it. We put stuff on there.
Yeah.
Oh, I
well,
love TikTok.
most
I
people.
love TikTok so much.
I'm too old for TikTok.
The night I found
TikTok is just to scroll through other people's
the
stuff.
night that I found TikTok is infamous in our house because I just sat there all night just laughing and rolling at the table.
Oh, no. It's
All the dumb videos. I love it. I love it.
You don't sleep anymore because of TikTok.
I don't shop on it. My wife did buy me the steel toe shoes that you twist it and it laces it for you. She did get those. Yeah, they're not bad shoes.
Really?
I don't. Yeah, they hold up quite well. I haven't had any issues with the laces. They're real quick, easy on off. You put them on, you push the disc in, you turn it, they tighten right up for you.
So it's like Marty McFly.
Right.
If they would have spring loaded that, that's the only thing that they had to do was spring load that thing, and it would just suck it right in for you.
What if it like malfunctioned and like just squeezed?
Strangled you. Strangle.
I don't think it's quite that strong. They're it's like a stretchy, maybe the size of some 30-pound test, but
So
I
it
don't
would.
think it's
So
quite that
it
strong.
would break before your foot broke.
I think so.
Yeah.
Or if not, the eyelets would give out. I think. Pretty sure.
That's a plus.
But I mean, look, you're doing it by manual turning it. So
Yeah,
if you,
yeah.
you cut your own foot off, that's kind of your own.
That could be why they didn't spring load it though.
Maybe, I don't know. I honestly, I think the spring load on, because you can't really, like, even if you're torquing on it, you're not going to pull it that tight.
True.
But it's tight enough to keep it on your feet. Like I said, I don't mind it. I don't do a lot of TikTok shopping. I
And
just
be
flip
Marty
through it.
McFly.
I just flip
That's
through it and I
awesome.
watch your dumb videos and I do laugh at you and hit the love button. Pass it on. That is how I TikTok.
I watch it secondhand on Facebook. So just the TikToks that people re-uploaded to Facebook, I get those.
Oh, you're missing out so much.
Yeah.
So very much.
I mean, we do hear voices in this house, but it's usually Alexa talking shit.
You can do that.
Quick update on Axe to Grind. We have our Trivia Wednesday. We have a bike night for Thursday. We have our karaoke Friday. And, I'm going to say this wrong. I don't have my phone because you guys are watching through it. I believe I either have a DJ or I can't remember if I have TJ coming. No, not this.
DJ or something.
No.
There's still
TJ will not be here this Saturday. He'll be here the following. I think it's the 21st or 23rd, whatever the Saturday is this month. So we'll have a DJ.
Hey.
So that took a lot to work out there,
It
didn't
did. It's a tongue twister.
Well, you should show your work.
Well, if you got a lot going on, it can take a little bit to keep it all straight.
And if you want more incentive to come out, I will be bartending Friday and Saturday.
Mhm.
If you've never had one of my cocktails, like, I'm really, really fucking good at this. Like,
It is.
That's
It is good at it.
good right
He
there.
is really good at it. You guys should come check him out. You guys have anything else y'all like to plug?
Oh, just
October
Holiday
4th.
House, October the 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah, our Paracon with Holiday House in Marion, South Carolina. It's going to be a really
Bring
fun time.
bring some
and then
chisels
turn
and hammers.
spooky.
We're gonna get
Yeah.
that.
That's
Open.
right. That's right.
We're gonna get that basement open. We're gonna find them ghostesses down there.
well, when's the sequel coming out?
Oh, 3 Mile? I don't know.
In the future.
In the future, I got about 100 pages, and
You can't.
Hey, that's
force creativity,
progress.
though. You
Oh,
it's
you
got to
can-
grow.
No,
Do
you
its thing,
can
right?
if you sit down and poke yourself with a stick. Yeah, you can. It's just
He's
I
just lazy with his cats. He's not working.
I'm not. She's not
See?
lying. I mean, I've been throwing myself into the house and and
She even got her crosses.
she hadn't got the.
Yeah, she came out earlier with a rosary, like showing it. She's like, I wish y'all would stop this.
Yeah. Don't make me bring out the Catholic.
Why would you call the devil here?
I'm protecting me and the cat. Y'all are.
Just the one cat. That's
Just
her
the one
favorite.
cat, the oldest
You got anything going on at the hotel?
No.
No,
No.
nothing in particular.
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
Then we have concluded on
I
another
think that,
broadcast.
I think that was an interesting one, guys.
Thank
and if
you
y'all
guys
have,
for coming. Thank you, Sean, for letting us use your
thank
house.
y'all so much.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Everybody.
Again, buy Sean's book. It's on Amazon. Sequel's coming.
And if you have any ideas for a show you'd like to see, hit us up with it. You got
Yeah.
Splitting Hair Podcast at gmail.com.
That's it.
That's it.
Thank you
guys.
guys.
Bye.
Have a great night. All right. Thank you guys so much.